I thought I'd do a video with some tips for new game masters so they can make profit from the experience I got the hard way in 20 years of gaming. So, here it is. In no particular order. Remember that you're not the enemy, you're not the antagonist to the players. It's your job to have the player and their characters experience fantastical adventures. It's not your job to kill them. But you're also not their friend. Don't make it too easy for them. Make them work very hard to reach their goals, so when they finally reach them, the success will be so much sweeter. As a GM, it is your job to organize the play sessions. You're the only one the game cannot run without. I know it's work, I know it's a chore, but if you won't do it, no one else will, and your group will die. So, organize your gaming sessions. You should know the rules, or at least where to look them up. That gives you confidence in your ability to lead the game. If you happen to have a kind of rule lawyer gamer in your group, you can make him your co-GM and have him take care of the rule side of things. So you can focus on NPCs, plots and story development instead. If you don't know the exact rules, the exact modifier for a certain role, have your players roll anyhow. Half of the time, their roll will either be so good or so bad, you know the outcome without looking up the rules, but you'll save a lot of time. And the other half of the time, where the roll is somewhere in between, you can still look up the rules, so nothing lost. You should know the setting you're playing in, your locations, your NPCs, the gods and laws of the setting, or at least where you can look it up quickly, so you're confident in your ability to keep the game running when the players go in directions unexpected. Which leads to the next rule. Don't prepare too much. No plot survives the encounter with the players, and if you have prepared great scenes, great encounters, a great story, but your players go in a totally different direction, it can be frustrating as a GM, and you might want to railroad them heavily back to where you planned them to go, but that is not really a fun experience for a player. So, prepare only what you need to react flexible to what your players do. For example, the NPCs and location I mentioned before. Prepare memorable NPCs and memorable locations without too much context. You can prepare a great, kinda crazy wizard with twigs for hair and a living cat for a shawl without preparing which organization he belongs to, if he will be an ally or a foe. And then when your players go off on a tangent, you can take out this wizard you prepared and use him however you need him to be. And these preparations will help you improvise and will help you react to the players and keep the game running in new and unexpected ways that might be really new and exciting for yourself. So, don't be afraid to improvise and make stuff up on the fly. The longer you do it, the better you get at it. And if you eventually get so good you don't need to prepare anything before, you can ignore the last tip I gave you and just run wild. You should read your players. Are they engaged? Are they bored? When was the last time they had anything to do? If it was longer than 5 to 10 minutes, depending on your players, maybe a bit shorter, maybe a bit longer, ask them what they want to do. This is especially important if the group is split up. When half of your party starts looking up Twitter on their mobile phone, then you know they should probably have something to do. Have a small list of random encounters, random things that can happen whenever you need it. That can be a roll on the random encounter table, or a sudden change in weather, maybe a heavy thunderstorm that comes over the players. You don't have to put too much thought into this, just roll with whatever reaction your players give you. If they suspect a sudden thunderstorm can't be a natural phenomenon, maybe it isn't. Maybe there's indeed an evil druid that wants to keep the party away from somewhere. If they suspect that the half-orc infant they found drifting in a wooden basket along the river must be the heir to the kingdom, then maybe he is. These tiny random ideas can lead to a big plot in and of itself if you just run with it. If, for one reason or the other, shit hits the fan and emotions around the table are running wild and you start shouting at each other, call for a break. Neither you nor your players make good decisions when you're emotional. So have a 15-minute coffee break and then get back to it and talk it over, and hopefully you can continue your game. No matter how cool you think your NPCs are, maybe your party doesn't like them. And if that is the case, don't force those NPCs on them. Maybe use them differently than intended. Maybe make them a secret antagonist and roll with that instead. On the other hand, if your players really like one of the random NPCs you came up with on the spot, great, roll with it. Use him, give him a greater role than intended. Remember that your players' characters should be the protagonists of your story. It's no fun to play second fiddle to an NPC, even if he is the once and future king. From time to time, try to look at the game from your player's perspective. Imagine what it's like to play in your campaign. What might be good, what might be bad about it, and what you could change. Players get frustrated if their characters die too much. But if on the other hand you fiddle with the rules and the situations so that player characters never die, it's also frustrating because it takes away all of the tension. So you have to find a middle ground there. If a character is threatened by death, give the player a chance to save him, give the group a chance to save him, but if it still doesn't work out, don't be afraid to let that character die. It will make the game a lot more suspenseful in the long run and keep it interesting. Ask your players for feedback after a session. Are the rules working? Are they happy with their characters? How did they like the adventure? What scenes were memorable, what scenes were not so great? And what do their characters want to do next? Take note. This will help you prepare the next session. That's all I have for now. What are your best new GM tips? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks and goodbye.